Hey everybody, welcome to the final video of 2024, and what better way to ring in the new year than by highlighting all the known anticipated manga releases for the year 2025. Now, a couple of things before we get started. Some books will be missing. I had to skip some in order to add others, and I'm missing some publishers, so do forgive me on that. However, be sure to subscribe and be on the lookout every month when I do my most anticipated manga releases, where I go over all the books that people are after with more detailed descriptions, preview images, and more. So make sure you're subscribed to Manga GEEKDOM. I would truly appreciate it if you did that. Now in this video, I go over everything. So that includes a little not safe for work stuff here and there. So with all of that out of the way, let's get started. From Dark Horse Comics, we have Gunsmith Cats Omnibus Volume 1 from Kenichi Sonoda. Raleigh Vincent runs Gunsmith Cats, a gun shop in Illinois with her partner, demolitions expert and former call girl Minnie Mae Hopkins. But Raleigh's real job doesn't pay the bills. Her hobby does, and her hobby is bounty hunting. From Smudge, part of Living the Line, we have two releases. The first one, Mansect, by Shinichi Koga. Humans grow and age, they change, but always we are the same person, the same creature. Not so with insects, whose powers of metamorphosis alter not only their shape and size, but also their very beings. And now, because of one young man's unhealthy obsession with bugs, humans also find themselves transformed into disgusting, decrepit, blood-sucking insect monsters. Face Meat, from the underappreciated pioneer of pinky violence, femme fatales, and adult horror manga, Bonten Taro. A headless, busty blonde, a face-stealing psychopath, a sleazy serial killer sculptor, a horny, handsome Igor, a cuckold caterpillar man, a torturous daydream into the pits of hell. Welcome to the raunchy and grisly world of Face Meat. From the folks at Udon, we have Veil, Volume 1 from Koteri. Like a classic film, he and she encountered each other by chance. He was an on-duty police officer in the city. She was a runaway heiress. When he learned that she is looking for work, he decided to welcome her as the police station's telephone operator. This was the beginning of the everyday lives of he and she, and the delicate distance between them. From Nakama Press, we have Infinity Force Volume 1 Arc to the Future by Ukyo Kodachi and Tatsuma Ejiri. It all began when high school student Emi Kaido received a mysterious wish-granting pencil. With her life on the line, Emi uses the pencil to call upon heroes for protection. Gatchaman, Tekaman, Kashan, Polymar. These defenders of justice cross space and time to help Emi weave the greatest tale of all time. From Square Enix, we have Wash It All Away, Volume 1 by Mitsuru Hattori. For 2 years, Wakana Kinmei has run a laundry service in the seaside resort town of Atami. Kinmei Cleaning is a well-loved business, and Atami residents admire Wakana's devotion to her trade. She builds a fulfilling life making friends with the locals and visiting hot springs. Although Wakana has no knowledge of her own past, her cleaning services safeguard memories imbued in customers' precious items. The Emperor's Caretaker, Volume 1 by Ichiha Hiragi, Aya Shooto, and Haruki Yoshimura. Linhua, daughter of the Chancellor of the Right, is as gifted with caring for children as she is at playing Eru. Her talents shine during the ceremony to select a consort for the 5-year-old Emperor. There she catches the eye of Soden, the highest-ranking regent. Suddenly, Linhua is swept into the vibrant world of the Inner Palace as a new court lady and the young Emperor's personal caretaker. Assassin and Cinderella Volume 1 by Yuzo Natsuno. Neneko is a spy blessed with cat-like charms. Her mission? Seduce the ace assassin of a rival organization and expose his weaknesses. The problem? She's blown her cover before learning a thing. But rather than dispose of her, the target makes an indecent proposal. Marry him and take their relationship to the next level since he can't keep his hands off her body. The God-Slaying Demon King, Volume 1. After centuries of war between demons, the world was finally united under the overwhelming power of Hiram, the strongest demon king in history. No demon could match him, but even the mightiest king cannot so easily defeat a god. When Hiram defied the demon god, he and the deity engaged in days of fierce battle, where in the end he was cut down by divine punishment. Hiram cast a spell that, in the event of his death, would reincarnate him years later with all his powers intact, only this time he would be born as a human, a race the demon god has no power over. Love in the Palm of His Hand, Volume 1, by Rinteku. Fujinaga is a university student who dreams of becoming an actor so he can do what he loves best, conveying emotion and story through physical expression. But after failing multiple auditions, his hopes are dashed and his confidence crushed. When he meets Keito, a fellow student with congenital hearing loss, Fujinaga is suddenly introduced to the world of sign language. Although clumsy at first, quickly picks up signing and surprises Keito with his astonishing talent of expressing emotions through action. On and Off, Work Life and Balance, Volume 1 by Shinosuke Kanazawa. There are two sides to every working adult. One they show when they're on the job, and one they show when they're off the clock. For co-workers Sotaro and Akira, this holds doubly true. Outside the office, these fashionistas don outfits that transform them into completely different people. So what happens when they form a connection after hours, without recognizing who the other person is? Exquisite Blood, The Heretic Onmyoji Volume 1 by Sakura Fujimoto. In an era when only a thin boundary exists between mortal and supernatural realms, demons steal 10 powerful artifacts known as the Sacred Relics from the human imperial capital. The emperor issues a decree to the Onmyoji who serve and defend the empire: recover the relics at all costs. Among their number is the brilliant renegade Fuzuki, who sets off in search of the first relic. Bride of the Death God, Volume 1 by Hako Ichiro. When a death god appears before Aibi, a girl suffering from an incurable disease, he expects her to cry and beg for her life like all the other humans he's brought to the afterlife, but she simply smiles and thanks him for coming to her. After a lifetime of suffering and with only 7 days left to live, will Aibi finally find happiness in the arms of a death god? Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick, Volume 1. Story by Chiaki Kawamata with art by Kamui Fujiwara. Many years have passed since the legendary hero Erdrick and his companions defeated the forces of evil, but after a century of peace and prosperity, the world is once again under threat. Now the prince, scion of the hero Erdrick, decides to take to the road along with his guardians and friends to counter the rise of darkness. From Titan Manga, we have Shadows of Kyoto, Volume 1 by Yumeya, Kiyomizu Dera, Kifune Shrine, and Arashino Nenbutsuji. To most, these places are merely tourist hotspots in the busy city of Kyoto, but each is hiding a dark history, tales of ghost and bloodshed. Come and hear the true stories of these haunted places and the creatures that lurk just out of sight. Welcome to Ghost Mansion, Volume 1 by Nebukuru. Kaoru Shinonome, who had been living as a freelancer, is investing her inheritance in property and buys a vast old condominium. Her dream life as a wealthy landlord is about to begin, but there are no living tenants, only spirits, and her new property is a roller coaster ride of psychic phenomena. Kaoru embraces her new specter-filled life as the owner of Ghost Mansion and starts recruiting for new, non-living residents. Dope Man by Ryo Yoshigami and Yuhei Ogino. Step into another alternate reality where Japan is transformed by drugs and the supernatural. The legalization of narcotics unleashed a wave of supernatural powers among drug addicts. To battle the new enemies, the D Unit is formed, comprising of detectives who are plunged into a superhuman doping conflict. Farewell, My Odin, Volume 1 by Chihiro Yoshioka. Unleash the wrath of the War Wolf, epic battles between mighty warriors in a bygone era. Against the backdrop of the harsh 11th century England emerges a blood-soaked saga of violence and vengeance, and the character of Luke, who faces hardships from birth but overcomes the suffering he endures to become one of the most feared and powerful warriors in the land. Speedgrapher by Tomozo, adapted from the Gonzo anime. A troubled war photographer explores the seedy underbelly of near-future Tokyo. There lies the famous Roppongi Club and its shadowy Hall of Secrets. When the photojournalist Saiga manages to infiltrate this elite association, he discovers Kagura, a young girl whose touch bestows incredible and horrific powers. Now anyone Saiga captures on film is doomed to die. The click of the shutter as sure as a trigger pull. Sword of the Titans by Kishidashiki. In a time when gods and humans live and fight together, the young boy Tsuchimaru was helpless, a mere child in the face of those mighty struggles, until a mysterious wandering artisan came with a sword they had forged and gifted it to the child, enabling him to take up arms in the titanic conflict. Toxic Super Beast Volume 1 by Niken. Kaiju mayhem unleashed. As the fog clears and colossal creatures stand as tall as mountains, be one of the bystanders in their shadows by opening this explosive manga. Outsiders Volume 1 by Akira Kano. Delve into a world where vampires and werewolves clash in the shadows, and humans unravel the secrets of an ancient feud. Navigate the world of dark fantasy alongside Emma, a high school student who is full of energy and determination. She embarks on a perilous path that will challenge her beliefs and reshape her destiny. The courageous young protagonist finds that she possesses special abilities, but will those same gifts attract unwanted attention? Will her curious nature help her uncover secrets or lead to her demise? From Seven Seas Entertainment, we have Isekai Affair. 10 years after defeating the Demon King, the hero cheats on his wife with a warrior woman who lost her husband, by Inomaru and Masakusa Oi. Getting hit by a truck and sent to another world to face off against the Demon Lord was the best thing that ever happened to Yuta. He attained unmatched powers, saved the world, and even married the princess. But now that the adventure's over, he finds himself in a boring, sexless marriage with no battles left to fight. The only excitement he can find comes from sneaking out for intimate nights with his former party member. Can the powers he once used to save the realm keep him from getting busted by his royal family? Blood Night Market by Chise Ogawa. Step into the pulsating heart of Blood Night City, a metropolis teeming with vampires thirsty for blood and humans eager to sell. In this dark urban landscape, Sotetsu toils as an employee of the Blood Control Bureau, an organization determined to stamp out illegal vampire activities. But when he crosses paths with the enigmatic Mozu, a self-proclaimed vampire gourmand, Sotetsu's world is suddenly turned upside down. For the first time ever, a vampire craves his undesirable blood, but could there be more to Mozu's desire? Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent by Naruki. Momose has always longed for a peaceful high school life. She wants nothing to do with hoodlums, delinquents, or troublemakers. When she meets Ichikura, an inconspicuous black-haired boy with glasses, he looks like a normal, nice guy. But it turns out that back in junior high, he was a nefarious delinquent. Only I know the world is ending, and getting killed by rampaging beast only makes me stronger by Ryuta Fuse, Tsubasa, and Shigeru Haijima. Akira is your average office worker who dies in a not-so-average way. On his way home from work, he is killed by a minotaur. He wakes back up in the office, but the world as he knew has changed. Mythical beasts and monsters are running amok, destroying everything in their path. Akira discovers that every time he dies, he gets resurrected with the skills he acquired from his previous lives intact. Armed with unlimited lives and an ever-expanding skill set, he now stands in the way of the beast and their rampaging wave of destruction. Home Sweet Home by Minami Mizuno. Tired of having to change schools because of her dad's job, Moemi, a first-year high school student, is allowed to stay behind at her parents' home on the condition that she lives with the daughter of her dad's boss. This girl, however, ends up being a boy, and not just any boy, but one of the most handsome and popular boys at school. Moemi's formerly humdrum life becomes anything but as she traverses the excitement of living with a hot upperclassman. The Elf Sisters Can't Wait for the Night by Bikoka K. Hozumi. Playful prankster Hashibami Yoake was born with a natural talent for mischief. One night, he discovers that his naughty antics can awaken the Queen's blood in one of 4 alluring elf sisters. To ensure all the girls have a fair shot, their guardian grants Yoake permission to prank them every night. But wild and sexy shenanigans will ensue. All of them, of course. Pet Shop of Horrors, Collector's Edition by Utsuri Akino. In the depths of Chinatown lies a pet shop. There it is said that you can find any animal you desire, no matter how fantastical or dangerous. The city is plagued with strange accidents, and somehow pets from that shop always seem to be involved. Detective Leon is determined to pin the blame on Count D, the shop's caretaker, but the beautiful man is just as enigmatic as his pets, and he certainly isn't talking. Now That We Draw by Yuji Kaba and Kyu Takahata. Dweeby high schooler Uehara Yuki has created the perfect romantic comedy heroine. She's bashful, airheaded, and completely chaste. When an editor at Uehara's dream publisher coldly dismisses his manga story as trite and lacking realism, it sends Uehara into a spiral of despair that pushes him into the path of his bubbly, gorgeous classmate Miyamoto Nina, an aspiring manga artist herself. I Want to Escape from Princess Lessons by Izumi Sawano, Uri Sugata, and Miru Yumesaki. Leticia Dorman is living every girl's dream. She's the daughter of a duke, raised in the lap of luxury, and she's engaged to marry the ruggedly handsome crown prince, Clark. But if this is a dream, somebody wake her up. In preparation to become part of the royal family, Letty has endured 10 grueling years of lessons on everything from dancing to etiquette, and once she becomes queen, then she'll have to put it all into practice. Her only chance of escape lies in the prince breaking off their engagement. This seems improbable until he shows up at the royal ball with a mysterious woman on his arm. This could be Letty's chance to break free once and for all, but not if Prince Clark has anything to say about it. Choking on Love by Keiko Iwashita. Hibari, a single-minded art student with dreams of becoming a graphic designer, feels insecure about being ordinary compared to her peers. Gaku, a free-spirited guitarist from the same university, turns her world upside down after a chaotic encounter at a ramen shop. Hibari wants nothing more than to escape the disorder Gaku brings to her perfectly planned life, but as he slowly breaks down her walls, Hibari starts to realize that a little chaos might be just what she needs. Loving Moondog by Nanpei Yamada. Rika, a dog groomer with a gift for taming wild pups, finds her life turned upside down when the Doberman she rescues one night suddenly turns into a hunky guy. This dog man is on the prowl for a mate and chooses Rika, and he's not holding back his horn dog desire. It Takes More Than a Pretty Face to Fall in Love by Karin Anzai. Sana, a fan of the influencer Kanato, who is rumored to attend the same high school, finally encounters him only to find out he's on the verge of expulsion. Determined to prevent this, Sana takes on the role of managing the school's social media. From holding hands to hugs and almost kisses, days filled with sweet thrills beyond her imagination are about to begin. Tamamori's Fantasies Never Stop by Tatsuwaipu. Many children of the rich and famous grace the halls of Seisoin Academy High School, but one girl stands head and shoulders above the rest. Tamamori Reika is perfection personified. Blessed with beauty, brains, and an amazing figure, she's the president of the Academy's drama club, and alongside her younger male clubmate, Tsukida Soji, works day after day to hone her skills. However, this perfect girl harbors a secret. She's a total pervert who can barely control herself. Can she make it through the day without blowing or losing her top? Rosen Maiden Collector's Edition by Peach Pit. After enduring cruelty from his classmates, Sakurada Jun shuts himself away, preferring to live in solitude. Just when he thought he'd found peace in seclusion, a mysterious box disrupts his world, revealing the enigmatic Shinku, a living doll from the legendary Rosen Maiden collection. Shinku is beautiful yet demanding, and instantly declares that Jun shall be her new servant. Before he can wrap his head around the unusual events, they're attacked. With no other options for survival, Jun agrees to a contract with Shinku and witnesses the true nature of her power. I Got Married to the Girl I Hate Most in Class by Moskonbu Amano Seiju. Hojo Saito and Sakuramori Akane are notorious across their high school for their bitter rivalry. Every day is a new battleground filled with constant bickering and fiery clashes. But everything changes when Saito's domineering grandfather delivers a shocking ultimatum: marry his rival or lose the family business to the dog. The Last Elf by Akira Sawano. In a world where steam and steel are rapidly replacing ancient magic, Aharu, the last surviving elf, embarks on a journey across a war-scarred land. With her loyal owl companion Glyph at her side, she seeks out the forgotten spirits who once fought alongside her people, offering them one final chance to return to their realm. But there are those who would see this last elf erased from history, just like the spirits she seeks to set free. At Your Service in Another World by Sabarudoro Pan and Yamada Nekoyashiki G. 2 years after Rin Tachibana, a romance-challenged woman in her 30s, was unexpectedly whisked away to another world, she has settled into a quiet life as a clerk for the Magic Knights. But when the king secretly orders her to service her arrogant colleague, a notorious misogynist, her peaceful routine goes off the rails. Yet watching the proud knight unravel under her touch sparks a surprising thrill. Now Rin must juggle her day job with her after-hours activities, all while keeping her late-night duties a secret. But can she really keep her cool working alongside him by day while bringing him to his knees at night? I'm in Love with the Older Girl Next Door by Kome Fujichika. Tasuku is in love with his cool and mysterious neighbor, Shia. She's 3 years older than him, a big film buff, and doesn't like him back. The two get together to watch movies every Wednesday, but no matter how many times Tasuku attempts to use these meetups to profess his love for her, Shia sends him right back into the friend zone. Can Tasuku prove himself a mature and capable boyfriend? And what secrets is Shia hiding behind her smiley demeanor? 12 Dirty Deeds to Unite the Princess and Her Heroine. Story by Moridam. When Princess Ophelia and the fearless heroine Lenaria were young, they pledged their futures to one another. But when Lenaria returns triumphant after slaying the demon lord, it's not the princess's hand in marriage she requests. It's her royal panties. Cursed by the demon lord in its final moments, Lenaria must now perform 12 wildly perverted acts to lift the spell that threatens her very soul. Versus Love by Chise Ogawa. Fun High and Raiden High are two rival schools locked in an intense turf war, led by their top students Ibuki Marin and Suzumi Nikoru. But one day, away from the rivalry and fighting, the two gang leaders meet. Unaware they're enemies, a love begins to blossom between them. Though they're destined to be enemies, will these star-crossed lovers come together? Or is this story destined to be a tragedy? The trapped former villainess wants to escape from the sadistic prince by Carmilla and Usui Katsura. Ordinary office worker Anna is suddenly reincarnated into an 18-plus otome game, but as the villainess. Now in the role of Annalie, she's not interested in hot and steamy fun, she's desperate to escape. Except her husband, the handsome and secretly sadistic Prince Leinhard, isn't letting her go so easily. Instead, he's pressing her to reenact their wedding night to help her regain Annalie's memories. Will she be able to resist his touch, or is she destined to bend to his every whim? The long summer of August 31st. Caught in an endless repeating August 31st, high schoolers Suzuki Takaya and Takagi Kana are the only ones who remember each loop. The likely cause? Suzuki's unfinished summer mission to secure a girlfriend and lose his virginity. The ultimate teen goal. Gene Bride by Hitomi Takano. Isahaya Ichi is fed up with men, a woman navigating a world where she's underestimated at work because of her gender and sexually harassed. But when her former classmate Masaki unexpectedly shows up, everything changes. He claims to be the other half of her destined pair from a junior high school event called Gene Bride, where genetic information matched students into couples for a day. While Ichi barely remembers the event, Masaki's sudden reappearance sparks a journey of rediscovery and buried secrets. Mi-chan Wants to Be Kept by Waka Takase. Nice guy grocery manager Iori is stuck in a rut. He's overworked, underappreciated, and still grieving the disappearance of his beloved cat. But one fateful night, after rescuing a stray on his way home, Iori wakes up to a shock. The stray is gone. In its place is a feisty, naked girl. Pushy, adorable, and oddly familiar, Mi-chan isn't just crashing at Iori's place, she's hiding a big secret. As Mi-chan paws at his heart, Iori's life is about to take a perfectly unpredictable turn. Virgin Marriage, A Maiden Voyage into Passion's Embrace by Kichi Kojima and Chizu Aoi. Kurumi and Keiichiro have been married for a full year but have yet to actually consummate their relationship. Though matched through an arranged marriage, the two share common interest and enter a lovely relationship, but both are completely inexperienced when it comes to having more intimate relations and can't even bring the subject up without becoming completely flustered. Can they bring up the courage to share their desires, or will it all become a pent-up mess? My New Boss is Goofy by Dan Ichikawa. Forced to change jobs after being constantly bullied by his old boss, 26-year-old Momose Kentaro is understandably anxious about what's in store for him at his new workplace. After all, what if his new boss ends up being just as cruel? However, Momose's fears vanish once he meets Shirosaki Yusei, a deadpan yet competent manager who is anything but scary. In fact, he's actually a little goofy. Idol Story by Shotaro Tokuno. Meet Mimi, a college grad working part-time at a convenience store. Once an aspiring idol, she abandoned her dream when her group failed to make it big. Enter Ibuki, a rising star inspired by Mimi's past. Their unexpected encounters reignite Mimi's passion for the spotlight. Together, they decide to audition for a high-stakes idol competition show. Can they achieve their dreams and forge an unbreakable bond, or will the intense rivalry tear them apart? Kaya-chan Isn't Scary by Yuritaro. Kaya-chan is a notorious problem child in her kindergarten, but none of the adults know her secret till Chi-sensei is put in charge and learns of Kaya-chan's hidden ability to see evil spirits and vanquish them with a punch. What will happen to this 5-year-old who gets in trouble when she's only trying to help? Fairy Cat by Hisa Takano. A minuscule cat appears one rainy day, perched on Kanade's chair, but the moment he spots the tiny ball of fluff, it vanishes. Kanade knows fairy cats are a rare sight to behold, hiding out of reach in nooks and crannies. But now that he's seen one, he is determined to win its affection. Can Kanade coax the fairy cat out of hiding and befriend it? My Younger Knight Takes Care of Me in Another World by Nekonomori Shima. Mitsuki is an ordinary 30-something office worker leading a monotonous life. His routine suddenly shattered when he tries to help a girl in distress, only to be transported to another world. While the girl's meant to be there, Mitsuki's out of place and nobody knows what to do with him. Fortunately, Volk, a noble knight, takes it upon himself to take care of Mitsuki, even gently tending to him after he's rendered unconscious from an injury. But when Mitsuki comes to, it's not Volk next to him, but a large black wolf. Just who or what is Volk, and how is Mitsuki expected to survive in this unfamiliar world? I'll Forget You Starting Today, Senpai by Megumi Yamaguchi. Hiromi is suddenly reunited with her high school boyfriend at a professional matchmaking service, but their reunion isn't a sweet one because he doesn't seem to remember Hiromi at all. In fact, he starts making wild accusations that make her question all her memories from back then. The sharp-tongued stranger is like an entirely different person from the guy she remembers. Is this a match doomed to fail? Wolf's Daughter, A Werewolf's Tale by Yuki Kodama. Sukina is an average high school girl with a supernatural secret, one that even she is unaware of. After an encounter with a man named Hayate, Sukina begins to realize she's not entirely human. Her great athletic ability, her enhanced sight at night, even the reason she craves raw meat, all comes down to one answer. She's a werewolf. But every answer leads her to more questions. Who is she really? What does any of this mean? Just where will Sukina's journey of self-discovery lead her? From Kodansha, we have Honeko Akabane's Bodyguards from Masamitsu Nigatsu. One day, Arakuni Ibuki learns that his childhood friend, Honeko Akabane, is being targeted by assassins. Both of them are in the same class in high school, and Ibuki is ordered to protect Akabane for 1 year. His goal is to ensure that she graduates safely, but he must do so without her realizing it, and so begins his secret life as a bodyguard at school. Draw Q by Chiyo. Amelie Kurosaki is your typical high school student, or so she seems. She tries to stay quiet and abide by the rules. She has a crush on her delinquent classmate Bako, who she's always fighting with, but her secret crush isn't the only thing Amelie is hiding. She's actually a vampire who's forbidden to fall in love with humans. But after a series of events, Amelie's hidden identity is revealed right in front of Bako. Dogs and Punching Bags from Kaori Ozaki. After leaving her isolating life in Tokyo, 34-year-old Nichiko returns to her remote island hometown for her estranged alcoholic father's final days. There she meets Chimaki, an eccentric young man who stirs up old memories and feelings Nichiko had all but decided she no longer deserved. But despite his puppy-like enthusiasm for life, Chimaki's almost obsessive need to rescue people and animals seems to be compensating for an unspeakable past. Senpai is an otokonoko, my cross-dressing classmate, by Pom. First-year high school student Saki Aoi can't help but find herself head over heels for her senpai, Makoto Hanaoka. After all, Hanaoka senpai is tall, beautiful, and oh so cool. Who wouldn't fall for a girl like her? Saki, with her bright and bubbly personality, doesn't hesitate to confess her feelings. However, Makoto turns her down, saying that they're not the person Saki thinks they are, because Makoto isn't a girl, but rather a cross-dressing boy. Makoto is used to the negatives that come with his love of cross-dressing, including the harsh gossip from his classmates, as well as the disapproval from his mother at home. After revealing his well-known secret, he expects Saki to be disgusted, but Saki's feelings only grow stronger and doesn't care what Makoto's gender is. In fact, she's determined to win him over. Fall in Love, You False Angels by Koko Uzuki. All sugar, no spice, and everything nice. That's the impression that beautiful first-year high schooler and heartthrob angel class president Otogi Katsura gives to those around her. In reality, Otogi is brash, assertive, and has no problem calling out a jerk when she sees one, the complete opposite of her soft-spoken vice presidential counterpart, the equally beautiful and seemingly perfect Toki Ninomai. When a group of boys try to hit on her at the train station, Otogi doesn't hold back and gives them a piece of her mind. And to her surprise, Toki enjoys seeing this side of her. Not only that, it turns out the seemingly polite but put-together vice pres has a hidden side of his own, and Otogi now finds him more attractive than ever. Now partners in crime, Otogi and Toki agree to keep their hidden sides a secret from the rest of their classmates. I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Day by Nachi Aono. At the mysterious orphanage where Shina lives, death is nothing new to its residents. Girls who no longer have families of their own, who are raised as weapons of war, taught to kill and take the lives of others without batting an eye. Everyone, that is, except Shina, who wishes for nothing more than the growing conflict around her to end. On the night of her roommate's death, Shina meets a strange girl covered in blood, who smiles despite the turmoil surrounding them. The next day, the girl appears as a new student in Shina's class and introduces herself as Mimi. Initially thought to be a school myth, there are now whispers in the halls of the orphanage that Mimi is their secret weapon, an immortal who cannot die. Dead Rock by Hiro Mashima. Welcome to Dead Rock, the underworld's top educational institution. A spot at this training facility for demonic mischief is all the young demon Yakuto has ever wanted. But in hell, there's no such thing as an easy A. Plenty of Yakuto's fellow prospects won't survive the entrance exam, and even fewer will make it to graduation. So why bother? The prize for those who survive this death game through perdition is the world in the palm of their hand. The Ayakashi Hunter's Tainted Bride by Mamenosuke Fujimaru and Midori Yuma. Young, cheerful Nanao can't wait to marry her betrothed, Reito, the young lord of the Byakurenji family. But that changes one night when she is attacked by vengeful yokai spirit and Ayakashi, leaving her scarred with the mark of a demonic curse. Her cousin Akemi seizes the chance to steal away her fiancé, but it doesn't matter. Reito now finds her repulsive, and Nanao is forced to wear a monkey mask to hide her scar and live the life of an outcast. Years later, she meets Yako, the willful young scion of another noble family. When Nanao's mask shatters after an accident, Yako sees her face and is drawn to her beauty and great spiritual power. But there's more to the handsome young lord that meets the eye. A Vampire in the Bathhouse by Nico Izuki. Luca is your picture-perfect vampire. He's good-looking, he's regal, he's also usually incredibly hungover and exhausted, and wants nothing more than a change of pace from his routine. When he takes a peek into the human world, he finds just the cure he's looking for, a relaxing bathhouse that will surely cure him of his hangover and rejuvenate him from head to toe. To blow his fatigue out of the water, Luca pays a visit to Mangetsu Setsu no Yu bathhouse, where he meets the bathhouse's eldest son, Sakura. But between the bathhouse being short-staffed and taking care of his little brother, Sakura has enough to worry about without a bougie vampire being added to the mix. Hauntress by Minetaro Mochizuki. Hiroshi Mori is an ordinary college student leading an unremarkable life until one day he hears someone ringing his neighbor's doorbell over and over again. He goes out onto the landing and finds a strange woman in a trench coat whose tenacious attention soon transfers to him. Stalked and harassed by this monstrous woman, Hiroshi tries to find out the truth about her before she ruins his life completely. Tower Dungeon by Tsutomu Nihei. An evil sorcerer slays the king and takes over his body, kidnapping the princess and spiriting her away to the legendary Dragon Tower. The royal guard is rebuffed in their attempt to rescue her, and to replace the wounded, a young farmhand named Yuva is called up into service. With only a pot lid for a shield and a strong back to carry supplies, Yuva joins the soldiers on the perilous quest to climb the tower and rescue the princess. Toxic Daughter, Chi-chan by Shuzo Oshimi. Yua Hayakawa used to love playing with Chi, a mysterious girl with a murky family who likes collecting dead insects, but it's been years since they've spoken. Now Chi hardly ever comes to school. One day Chi shows up to class in beat-up gym clothing with a handful of dead bugs and starts a commotion that gives Yua's classmate, Golden Boy Kodai, an idea. He's going to save Chi, and he needs Yua's help to do it, but clean-cut exteriors don't always promise good intentions, and the darkness in Chi may be more dangerous than Yua had ever imagined. 2345 by Ohana. 2 months after moving to Tokyo, college freshman Iku is living his otaku nerd life to the fullest. There's just one problem. He started being able to see ghosts. One spirit in particular, a young man about Iku's age, spends day after day standing on the pedestrian bridge on the way to Iku's apartment. Though determined to live and let not live unnoticed, Iku accidentally bumps into the handsome phantom and soon ends up with the very chatty deprived spirit of Mimori Seo haunting his apartment. Not long after, Iku notices that every night at 23:45, Mimori is drawn by some mysterious force back to the bridge and forced to repeat the fall that made him a ghost in the first place. Spacewalking with You by Inuhiko Doronoda. Kobayashi just can't focus, not on studying, not on work, and the adults in his life think he is in danger of becoming a worthless dropout. Then, one day, a strange new presence arrives in his class, an energetic and naive kid named Uno. Kobayashi saves Uno from getting scammed, and that close encounter launches a new friendship. Uno's definitely a space cadet, but Kobayashi can't help admiring the way he floats through life, and before he knows it, he might start feeling his feet lift off the ground as well. Shita's Little Big World by Yuki Kamba. Shita and Nala live happily inside a hollowed-out log with their fellow little folk, who stand no taller than a blade of grass. When Nala runs off one day to investigate a mysterious smoke signal, Shita summons all his wit and courage as he sets off in pursuit. Rats, ants, weasels, giants, the wide world is full of dangers, but the plucky Shita will stop at nothing to find his friend. A Curtain Call for You by Shiho Sato and Kiki Emoda. Shy, mousy Sakura Akutsu is content to keep her adventures confined to the pages of her notebook, until the brash, outgoing new transfer student Tsubame Hiragi gets her hand on it, that is. The two secretly share the stories Sakura spins, but soon that secret proves too big to keep, and Tsubame whisks Sakura into a glittering world she could have never imagined. Together they'll learn about art, love, truth, and most of all, theater. You Can't Bluff the Sharp-Eyed Sister. Story by Natsu Hyuga and Yo Asami. In a sleepy countryside church, Chloe plays the part of a prim and naive novice studying to become a priestess. But when night falls, she sneaks out in disguise to win big money at cards. Despite her best efforts, word gets around, and one day, a handsome young holy knight named Geraldo, known as a rising star in the capital, arrives to enlist her help. A murder 2 years ago threatens the stability of the kingdom, and Geraldo thinks this card shark in sister's clothes can solve it using her gift, the rare blessing that allows someone to use magic. Little does Geraldo know, there's nothing supernatural about Chloe's winning streak. Before You Go Extinct by Takashi Ushiroyato and Kanato Abiko. A humble rock is at the center of this transmigratory tale of two souls who take the form of penguins, otters, crows, and more as they learn about the value of culture, the beauty of play in the face of capitalist pressure to produce and reproduce, and the power of love in the face of total annihilation. Last Samurai Standing by Tatsuz. It is the 11th year of the Meiji era in Japan, and more than a decade since the samurai were stripped of their privileges, with swords outlawed on public streets. A mysterious poster appears in all corners of the land, luring those skilled in martial arts to Kyoto, with the promise of riches beyond common imagination. As warriors deprived of purpose flock to the appointed place at the appointed time, what awaits them is no ordinary task, but an all-out war against each other. Light of My Life from Takiba. Aki and Minagi were inseparable in high school until an incident pulled their friendship apart at the seams. Years later, both men have given up on their high school dreams and on each other. But when Minagi shows up one night on Aki's doorstep, is it just the push the two men need in order to address their past and repair their future? Gaia Tima, The Gigantus by Kent. A gigantic monster devastates a small seaside town. 10 years later, the resilient community has emerged as a tourist destination. When the monster known as Gaia Tima returns, Miyako, a local hero and survivor of the first attack, pushes to find a scientific solution to the problem of giant creatures known as Gigantus. But is humanity capable of responding to violence with anything except more violence? Tune in to Midnight Heart by Masakuni Igarashi. At the end of a difficult day, the haughty but pure-hearted rich kid Arisu found his only solace in the voice of another girl his age, who hosted a live stream under the pseudonym Apollo. Then one day, the broadcast simply stopped. Arisu has dedicated the years since then to finding Apollo's true identity, and he's narrowed it down to one particular high school. He transfers in as a student and figures it will be a cinch, but then discovers it could be any of the girls in the broadcasting club, and the real Apollo isn't talking for reasons of her own. Roar, A Star in the Abyss by Ai Okawe. Misato had a perfect childhood with parents who loved her and a home on an idyllic island in Japan's inland sea. But then a TV show starts shooting in town. Misato's cast as an extra, and in an instant her life is turned on its head. A woman appears claiming to be her real mother, and before she knows it, Misato is living in a lavish mansion surrounded by greedy schemers of all stripes. Isak by Shinji Makari and Double S. The year is 1620. In Europe, Catholic and Protestant forces clash across battlefields ruled by sword and gunpowder alike, and mercenaries of every stripe ply their trade. Among them is Isak, a lone Japanese warrior wielding a matchlock gun of strange design, on a sworn mission to find and kill the man who murdered his master and fled Japan for the other side of the world. Snegurochka of the Spring Breeze by Hiroaki Samura. Bielka, a beautiful young woman in a wheelchair, and her taciturn companion, Shtenok, must keep their true identities secret as they navigate the fraught political climate and harsh landscape of the Soviet Union in the 1930s. From Viz Media, we have Hunter x Hunter, the 3-in-1 edition by Yoshihiro Togashi. When Country Boy Gon decides to follow in his father's footsteps and become a legendary hunter, he embarks across a perilous sea to take the hunter exam. After he finally finds the elusive exam hall, the other hunter hopefuls prove deadly serious, and the tests are wild and wicked. Will Gon's plucky spirit and courageous heart be enough to carry him closer to his dream? Mujina Into the Deep, Volume 1 from Inio Asano. In the near future, human rights aren't guaranteed, but they are for sale. Without your rights, you're just a Mujina, with no place to call your own and no laws to protect you. But if the laws don't apply to you, you can do anything you want. You just need the skills to back it up. And if you're really good, you can really make a killing. 4 Lives Remain, Tatsuya Endo Before Spy Family. A young girl fighting her way through bounty hunter school. A princess forced to flee her moon empire after a coup. Witch hunters hell-bent on killing with blood-sucking swords. And a group of ragtag musketeers tracking down armed robbers. In these early works of Tatsuya Endo follow the adventures of 4 resourceful and unexpected heroes as they discover the true strength, power, and beauty can be found in walking the path one believes in. Minecraft, the manga, by Kazuyoshi Sato. Peaceful life in a perfectly constructed town bores 10-year-old Nico into mischief. Riding creepers while they explode is fun and all, but what he really wants is to escape the blocky confines of his home and take his crafting skills on an adventure to the end of the world. Dogs Red by Satoru Noda. After winning the national championship, 15-year-old figure skater Ro Shirakawa was on his way to the Olympics, but with his mother's tragic death on his mind, he threw it all away in an outburst of rage. Banned from figure skating, he and his sister move to Hokkaido. When he meets some local kids at the skating pond, they convince him to be a stand-in player for their soon-to-be disbanded hockey team. The team has never won a game, and they're up against the local champions, but if they've got to go down, they want to score at least one goal before it's all over. Ro hasn't got a clue how to play ice hockey, but he sure knows how to skate. Rudy Dragon by Masaoki Shindo. Starting high school, Rudy gets hit with the biggest reveal of her life. She's a dragon. Well, half a dragon. Her mom admits Rudy inherited her draconic traits from her father, who, yes, is actually a dragon. As if dealing with curious classmates wasn't already challenging enough, Rudy and her dragon genes literally turn up the heat in the middle of a lecture. Her ordinary life is about to be anything but. Firefly Wedding by Oreko Tachibana. Afflicted with a heart condition, Meiji-era noblewoman Satoko is determined to secure a marriage that will benefit her family before she dies. But before she can realize her goal, she's targeted by a mysterious assassin named Shinpei. In a last-ditch effort to save her life, Satoko asks her would-be murderer to marry her. Her proposal isn't sincere, but unfortunately for her, Shinpei loves as intensely as he kills. Can Satoko find a way to break the engagement without losing her life? Tokyo Alien Bros Volume 1 by Keigo Shinzo. Fuyunosuke Tanaka is a perfectly ordinary college student, except for one thing. He's secretly an alien. He and his brother Natsutaro have traveled across the galaxy to study the people of Earth and evaluate the planet's resources. But adapting to life on this new world may prove a bit harder than they thought. Vagabond, the Definitive Edition from Takehiko Inoue. This large trim definitive edition has gorgeous textured designs which collect 3 of the phenomenal volumes of the samurai-era masterpiece. Striving for enlightenment by the way of the sword, Miyamoto Musashi is prepared to cut down anyone who stands in his way. A Star Brighter Than the Sun by Kazune Kawahara. Sai has always been taller and stronger than the average girl. Koki used to be smaller and weaker than the average boy. But now that he's in high school, he's tall and super popular. Will the childhood friendship rekindle and maybe develop into something more? The Climber by Shinichi Sakamoto, Yoshio Nabeta, Hiroshi Takano, and Jiro Nita. Buntaro Mori is a loner, but being alone in a crowd is almost as bad as being forced to fit in. When a dangerous bid for solitude introduces Mori to the rush of solo climbing, he becomes addicted to the brilliant sense of freedom he finds as he pits his body and soul against the heights. But how high does he have to climb to leave humanity behind? Pink Candy Kiss by Ami Uozumi. After 20 years apart, Takada reconnects with Emma, a classmate from middle school, and the girl she nearly kissed. She's bewildered by how the shy, quiet girl she once knew has grown into a beautiful woman with an air of mystique. Despite Emma being married, Takada can't help but think there's something special about Emma's cool, soft hands against her skin. Is this swirl of passionate emotions the feeling she's been missing? Cosmos by Ryuhei Tamura. High schooler Kaede uses her uncanny ability to sniff out fact from fiction for Cosmos, an intergalactic insurance company whose clients are extraterrestrial visitors to Earth, and now his own life is about to get out of this world. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 Steel Ball Run from Hirohiko Araki. Riders from around the world gather in the Wild West for the race of the century. Johnny Joestar, a former jockey paralyzed from the waist down, comes to spectate and momentarily regains the ability to walk while watching a duel fought by Gyro Zeppeli. Desperate to learn more about this power, Johnny joins the race and embarks on the most epic and bizarre race to ever cross the American frontier. The Bugle Call Song of War by Mosuko Sora and Higoro Tomori. In arboreal year 1294, the world is dominated by 9 massive towers known as the Spires, remnants of an ancient civilization. Filled with lost secrets and powerful knowledge, nations struggle to possess them. Luca is a bugler in a mercenary company who wants nothing more than to leave the battlefield behind and become a true musician, a maestro. But marked as one of the enigmatic branched hexed and gifted with the strange ability to see the sound of his instrument, Luca finds himself drawn reluctantly into a war of epic proportions. Snow Angel by Haruka Shizu. Muku Shiroshika's happy and carefree childhood came to an abrupt end after her father's tragic death. In the 10 years since, she's worked as a thankless caregiver for her dementia-suffering grandfather. Between taking care of her family, searching for a job, and enduring her grandmother's constant criticism, Muku finds herself drowning. She's desperate to escape, but with nowhere to go, Muku loses hope. That is, until her childhood friend, Yuto, appears on her doorstep one snowy day and inspires her to live for herself. Kill Blue by Tadatoshi Fujimaki. Juzo Ogami has never led a normal life. He was picked up by a criminal organization as a child and grew up to become a legendary hitman. But his life takes a turn when he's bitten by a mysterious insect and becomes a teenager again. Can this battle-hardened assassin handle the rigors of middle school life? Girl Crush by Midori Tayama. Tenka Momose was a quiet and withdrawn child, but before long she realized that the most effective way to protect herself wasn't hiding from the other kids, it was being the best at everything. After years of armoring herself with excellence, Tenka lives safely atop her cool girl pedestal, admired and idolized by everyone. But her flawless composure is suddenly shaken by a very average schoolmate's impressively big dreams. At first, Tenka is scornful of Erian Satsu's ambition of becoming a K-pop idol, but the other girl's passion is so irresistible that Tenka soon finds herself with idol dreams of her own. The Demon Prince of Momochi House, Succession by Aya Shoto. Aoi Nanamori had been trapped for a long time in Himari Momochi's ancestral house as its spiritual guardian, the Omamori-sama. Several years later, Aoi has returned to Himari as a human, and the couple is living together, though strangely the two are now farther apart in age. Spider-Man Kizuna by Seta Kobayashi and Hachi Mizuno. Welcome to Ohakama City, Japan. You, a timid boy who loves to draw manga, is attacked by a villain, only to be rescued by the superhero known as Spider-Man. Despite being defeated, the villain activates a device that merges you and Spider-Man together. Suddenly bestowed with not just great power, but the proportionate speed, strength, and agility of a spider, will you find the courage to help others or fall prey to Spider-Man's worst enemies. Ultraman Along Came a Spider-Man by Shigenobu Matsumoto and Tomo Hirokawa. When a battle against Dr. Doom goes awry, Spider-Man is transported across dimensions to a Japan where giant monsters roam and the country is protected by a giant of light, Ultraman. But when two of the world's most dangerous villains form an alliance, will these two heroes be able to live up to their title of hero, or will they be forced to discover that sometimes overcoming evil means that sacrifices must be made? Tokyo Fears Rhapsody by Akira Sugito. Hachiro is the mightiest monster around, created to strike terror into humanity. But a chance encounter with ice cream makes him an instant fan of human culture, earning him the ire of his fellow fears. Between rebelling against his overbearing creator and slaughtering ghoulish foes, Hachiro's got a lot more than just ice cream on his plate. Sumiki Ogami's Not-So-Ordinary Life by Miyu Morishita. Yutaka Shinzo is constantly worried about what other people think of him. Hoping to turn over a new leaf, he changes high schools, but there's something strange afoot. Vampires, ogres, and all manner of supernatural beings walk the halls. Yutaka is particularly drawn to Sumiki Ogami, a confident and popular werewolf girl. Will Sumiki be the one to help Yutaka overcome his insecurities? Nue's Exorcist. For as long as he can remember, Gakuro Yajima has been able to see spirits, beings that are drawn to human sadness and anger. A fateful encounter with a quirky pop culture loving spirit named Nue marks the start of Gakuro's adventure. Astro Royale by Ken Wakui. Hibaru Yotsurugi, the only biological heir to the Yotsurugi Yakuza family, is caught in a power struggle with his adopted siblings over who will be the next boss. But when a meteor crashes into Tokyo and people begin manifesting mysterious powers called Astros, their gang war becomes superpowered. Rai Rai Rai, Volume 1 by Yoshiaki. Sumire Ichigaya's got it tough. She's drowning in debt, surrounded by noisy neighbors, fighting for discount supermarket meals, and working a dead-end job exterminating space pests left over from a failed alien invasion. It seems like things just can't get any worse until she's abducted by aliens and wakes up with a monstrous new arm and a foul-mouthed voice in her head. From Yen Press, we have Everyone's Darling Has a Secret by Kashiko Amane. Hisashi Hiruno, a freshman at a super elite high school, has just finished his first academic proficiency test of the year. He anxiously awaits the result, which will set the tone for his next 3 years at school. But due to a mistake on his answer sheet, he receives an abysmal score and gets sent to remedial lessons. If there's one silver lining, he's not the only one, and his comrade could be the girl of his dreams. Hell is Dark with No Flowers by Yoru Michio and Ruka Todo. Seiji Tono sometimes sees the people around him as monsters. It's a curse that has driven him to a life of despair. But all that changes one evening when he stumbles across a bewitchingly beautiful boy in a huge European mansion. The boy introduces himself as Shiroshi Saijo, and before he knows it, Seiji has agreed to become Shiroshi's part-time assistant. Turns out that Shiroshi's proxy service is to consign yokai-possessed sinners to hell, which will bring Seiji face to face with the unimaginable host of horrors. I picked up this world's strategy guide by Achi Ai. Sana is the hard-working daughter of a shop owner, and she often ventures out into the forest to gather the herbs needed for the restorative potions they sell. But on one trip, she happens to pick up a mysterious strategy guide for a game, and it's filled with detailed information about her town, those around her, and even what's yet to come. However, the future may not be all what she expects. With such a powerful and dangerous book in hand, what will Sana do? I'm Here Beside You by Tea Natsuno. Ibuki Doi has never forgotten his first love from high school, Mikami Baba, the kind, handsome, and totally straight student council president. Though he was too shy to approach Mikami back then, Ibuki always held his idol near and dear to his heart, wishing him nothing but the best. However, when he learns Mikami is soon to be a married man, he just can't help it. He's absolutely devastated. He drinks himself into a stupor to drown his sorrow, but is surprised to wake up and find he's back in high school. Could this be Ibuki's second chance to make things go his way? Takahashi from the Bike Shop by Arare Matsumushi. From unwanted advances from her boss and work dumped onto her by co-workers, 30-year-old Tomoko Hano, or Panko for short, struggles to stand up for herself. But when her rusty bike breaks down, she meets Ryohei Takahashi from the neighborhood bike repair shop. Although he can be a bit overbearing, Panko finds herself relying on his considerate nature, and her world begins to shift. The Color of the End, Mission in the Apocalypse by Haruo Iwamune. A girl walks alone in a world without humans. Her mission, to search for survivors and cleanse the land. But is anyone still out there in the lonely, beautiful ruins, waiting to be found? Helena and Mr. Big Bad Wolf by Bliss. Helena has always found her strength through stories. When her father left and didn't come home one night, and when Arthur, her only brother, got into an accident, reading and creating stories was what kept Helena going. By a stroke of luck, she attends an autograph signing of her favorite author, Mr. Big Bad Wolf, and the two grow closer, bonding over their shared love for storybooks. The cold, reserved man with a wolf head is shrouded in mystery, but perhaps he has a gentler side only Helena can see. The Failure at God School by Natsu Hyuga, Motomu Akagawara, and Seikaisha. Modern life means modern solutions, even to supernatural problems. So of course, the government would have a classification system, special schools, and licenses for people with mysterious powers. Any manifestation of a miracle is enough to be called a himiko, but only those with full certification may use the title of god. And high schooler Nagi is in serious need of a god. The death of her grandmother has left her family shrine devoid of the necessary divinity, and her hopelessly shut-in himiko brother isn't looking promising. But if Nagi isn't careful, her search for a god might end up with her finding more than she bargained for. Super Ball Girls by Muneyuki Kaneshiro and Akiro Hiramoto. Ichiyoshi is tired of his boring life working at the chocolate factory and keeping his greatest wants close to his chest. While walking home one Christmas night, he catches a mysterious super ball bouncing out of the darkness. He throws it as hard as he can, and an impossibly beautiful woman appears before him. The Anemone Feels the Heat by Ren Sakuragi. After failing to get into her desired high school, studious Nagisa's resolved to keep her chin up and move on. That is, until she meets a sickly girl named Mashiro at her new school, who throws a wrench into her plans, as she's the very reason Nagisa flunked her exams in the first place. But Nagisa decides she won't let it get her down, and to upend her negative feelings, she vows to warm up to Mashiro. Nomi Shiba by Toru Tagura. They first met at boarding school. After 2 whole years of living at the dorms, Nomiya can't truthfully say he's ever been in love. Sure, he thinks Mikoshiba's face is kind of cute and girly, and yeah, his heart skips a beat every time Nomi sees him, but that doesn't mean he's in love with Shiba. He's into chicks, not dicks, alright? If it's you, I might try Falling in Love by Maru Kubota. Amane hadn't seriously liked anyone since back in middle school. He learned how painful it was to be laughed at for sharing your feelings, and had sworn off ever since. Now Amane is just transferred into a new high school in Enoshima, where he meets Ryuji, a boy in his class. Fast friends, the jaded Amane quickly warms up to the eager Ryuji, but the warmth continues to grow into feelings much deeper than friendship. It's All Your Fault by Meri Hachi. Shiho is a troublemaking otaku aiming to create the most perfectly accurate costumes. Yotogi is a popular cosplayer with over 200,000 followers who is known for her revealing outfits. These girls are like fire and ice, clashing as they strive to become superstars in the world of cosplay. Sacrificial Princess and the King of Beasts' Heir, White Rabbit and the Prince of Beasts by Yu Tomofuji. Happily ever afters only truly happen in fairy tales, so although Leonhard and Sarifi's story has come to a close, their son, Richard's, has only just begun. With a foot in both the Joanna and Osmargo and an important coming-of-age ceremony on the horizon, he sets off on a journey to prepare himself physically and spiritually. Bochi the Rock Side Story, Kikuri Hiroe's Heavy Drinking Diary by Aki Hamazi and Kumicho. Kikuri Hiroe, genius bassist of Sick Hack, terror of concert venues, eternal deadbeat, and all-around poor role model, has long held that there's no problem you can't drink your way out of. Whether it's the failing economy, overdue rent bills, or just plain old social anxiety, a quick trip on the spiral of happiness will help everything work itself out in the end, right? Surely her personal life isn't a total disaster, right? Reincarnation Coliseum by Saizo Harawata and Zunta. The weakest skill conquers the strongest women and creates a harem. From Saizo Harawata. High schooler Koji Mikagami is painfully average in every way, except when he's playing video games. So getting summoned to a magical world and granted the ability to copy his opponent's skill should be his way to the top. Before he gets the chance though, he's thrown into the Coliseum as a combat slave for his trash tier skill. In the midst of this despair, he realizes only one path remains open to him: beat down the strongest girls with the weakest skill and make a name for himself. The 31st Consort by Tsubasa Nanaki and Nanao Yamashita. No lady wants to be chosen as the unfortunate 31st consort candidate. After all, being the lowest rank means only one chance to see the king every few months. That's perfect for Feria though. Hailing from the far remote territory of the kingdom and uninterested in marriage, she'd much rather tend to her lovely herb garden than vie for favor. But when the inevitable visit on the 31st comes, what's to become of her quote-unquote romance? A Witch's Life in Mongol by Tomato Soup. The Time, The 13th century. The place, Yeke Mongol Ulus, the greatest empire the world has ever known. The woman, Fatima, hailing from Persia. Fatima's desire for a stage where she can put her knowledge to work has brought her to the palace of the Mongols, where she falls under the wing of Toregene, the sixth wife of Ogedei, the second great Khan, a mighty woman with complicated feelings about the direction of the empire. These two women are the axle upon which the politics of the palace and soon the very world will turn. Horror Collector by Nico Yuki with Yon. The internet is full of creepypastas, cryptid sightings, tales of paranormal activity, and unsolved disappearances. Most of these are just rumors though, and pranks fueled by trolls. But an unlucky few learn the hard way that some legends are true. Many of these unfortunate souls are doomed, but their luck may change if they cross paths with the boy in the red hood. He roams from town to town and appears wherever strange things occur. Is he a light in the darkness, or living proof that monsters are all too real? Kindergarten Wars by Yo Chiba. Rita is Convict 999, a former legendary assassin who now works at a kindergarten for children of world leaders. Her job is to protect the school children from the clutches of would-be assassins sent after them. But even with her overwhelming strength, Rita has a weakness. She's head over heels for good-looking men. Phantom Invasion by Kumosuke Yamada. Ryo wakes up one day to find himself transported to another world full of monster girls. Although their power far surpasses that of any humans, Ryo has his own ability, the Charm skill, which forcibly increases his affection level with all monster girls. Using this skill, he seduces all kinds of monster girls and builds a harem to get revenge on all the fantastical creatures that attacked and brought his home to ruin. Spice and Wolf Collector's Edition from Isuna Hasekura and Keito Kome. Kraft Lawrence has been walking the lonely path of the itinerant merchant for 7 years. His life changes forever when he meets Hollow, the wolf god of the harvest, and the two begin traveling together. Stardust Family by Aki Poroyama. In a world set in the future, children hold the authority to determine who may become parents. Having children is illegal unless a couple first passes a strict examination conducted by a child that certifies them as capable providers. It is a veritable utopia with no child abuse, or at least so it may seem. Hikari is one such examiner in this system, spending his days evaluating parents. But one day he comes across a couple that isn't quite like the others. The 13th Footprint by Kei Sanbei. Following their sons Eo's release from the hospital, Toya, Haru, and Eo were all ready to start a new life in their picturesque new home. But that was before the postcards arrived. Each postcard details an event, one that won't happen until the next day. The BS Situation of Togetsu Umidori by Miso Ameido, Natsuki Amashiro. One day, Togetsu Umidori suddenly receives a mysterious request from Nara Yoshino, a classmate of hers she is rather close with. Little does she know, however, that this is only the beginning of a series of bizarre events. Soon after, an enigmatic girl in a cat hoodie shows up at Umidori's house, calling herself BS. Thanks to her, all manner of strange things happen, including betrayals, threats, a grapple for freedom, and finally a desperate plea for mercy. Once everything is over, this strange new girl asks, "Hey, will you kill the lies with me?" And without knowing why, Umidori joins in on her quest. The Ragnarok System of the Desperate Reincarnated Demon Lord and the 7 Aggressive Maidens by Kenji Saito. Rintaro, a renowned hero who helped save Japan from being taken over by demons, has become an unconfident university student. Though he still has his incredible abilities, there's one thing he doesn't have: a girlfriend. But one day, a princess suddenly approaches him and asks to be his wife, his girlfriend, or even his friend with benefits? The Skeleton Enchanted by the Cursed Blade by Nobuhisa Tsuruoka and Nozomi Ginyoku. Out of all the horrors born in the labyrinth, skeletons are the weakest. In a world where the strong prey on the weak, one skeleton has no choice but to always run from danger, until a fateful encounter with a sentient cursed blade gives him unfathomable abilities. Desperate March for Love by Michiga Tomizawa. Rei has feelings for Ami, a girl in her class who's always been kind to her, so when she confesses to Ami, she fully expects to get turned down, until Ami says she likes her back. But now that they're officially a couple, Ami seems a little off. While Rei is head over heels for her, Ami is a player who isn't even sure how to love just one person. Rei is crushed by Ami's seemingly careless approach to their relationship, but even so, she won't give up. So there it is, folks, a journey down 6 to 7 months worth of new manga releases that we can look forward to in the year 2025. Let me know which ones you are most excited for, and of course, as they come out, I will detail them further in my monthly anticipated manga releases videos. So thank you all for a fantastic 2024. It has been a wild ride, and it can only grow from there. So thank you so very much for liking, commenting, subscribing, and of course being part of Manga Geekdom. That's gonna be it for now. God bless, stay safe out there. I will catch all of you on the next one.